Grand Rising, y'all. Here I am on Melissa Talks, reading her book, USSA, by Melissa June. I'm going to read a little bit more of my book for y'all, and I'm going to start a couple of sentences where I jumped off last time. So I'll start here. That day has always stuck with the 16-year-old me. As I stated earlier, growing up in DV can have many effects on your life. My mother was with my father for 15 years. She had me at 18 years old. I'm USSA, a.k.a. Melissa June. My mother filed for divorce after that incident. I remembered a conversation we had about her leaving. She made it a point to tell me, I didn't leave because of you. Wow, where did that come from? And why would you say that to your 16-year-old daughter who had witnessed the abuse? I never understood why her and I never got along, or why she always felt the need to be condescending towards me or belittling me in some way. Maybe that's how my grandmother made her feel. So it was all she knew. Maybe the abuse from my father left her emotionally unavailable and unresponsive to me as a child and beyond. She was always closer with my brother, who's a year younger than me. So I often thought it was just me. From as early as 10, I remember feeling disconnected from the woman who gave birth to me. Over the years, we stopped speaking to one another for months at a time for most of my life, until I met my third husband. Yes, third husband. I was married to him for 11 years. I learned what a narcissist was, and I also learned I was surrounded by many. I'll get to him later, though. Lost my place. I'll get to him later, though. My mother's behavior towards me has always been narcissistic. There has always been a disregard for my feelings. I was always on the chopping block. I was never good enough for her or anything I did. I was closer with my father, even with the abuse. Sometimes I thought that was the reason my mother and I never had a relationship. He didn't beat me like he beat her. I was beat with a belt a few times. Discipline is what the silent generation and boomers called it. The end of the belt would leave welts on my thighs in the shape of the belt used, each swing precise, as the belt landed with every word my father said. I was so trained that I have called this discipline for most of my life instead of abuse. I somehow thought because I still loved my father after he abused my mother, I was wrong. Sometimes I thought it might have been envy. It might have been envy because she didn't know her father. Excuse me. Or maybe it was because she didn't have a relationship with her mother. So she wasn't able to give that to me. I've always felt the energy of loathing from my mother. I went no contact almost 5 years ago because I was done accepting her narcissistic behavior. My father died in 2010. Before he died, we talked about some of the hurt he caused, and he acknowledged the hurt in me. That has always been the difference between the two. Both parents, regardless of culpability, risk poor emotional risk poor emotional attunement with their children when DV is present in the home, which can decrease their capacity to recognize danger and stress. Children who grow up in DV have greater experiences with insomnia, bedwetting, verbal, motor, and cognitive issues, learning disabilities, self-harm, aggressive and antisocial behavior, depression, and anxiety, as well as an adult who ends up in DV relationships, an adult with poor sibling, peer, and social relationships, or an adult who is withdrawn. Kilpatrick Litt and Williams in 1997 concluded that witnessing DV was significantly intense to bring about post-traumatic stress in children. ACE, the Adverse Childhood Experiences, led by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, classified exposure to DV as one of the several adverse childhood experiences contributing to a poor quality of life, premature death, and risk factors for many of the most common causes of death in the United States. DV is a pattern of abusive behavior used to gain or maintain power control. It is important to understand the psychological effects of DV. It's not just about healing physically, it's rebuilding lives and mending shattered minds. I'm going to stop there for today. First, I want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to hit that like button and share button to someone else who may benefit from hearing me and my story and knowing that what I have endured and overcome. DV, like I said, is passed down generation to generation, whether it's the form, it takes many forms. It can be physical, verbal, sexual, or financial. It can be a variety of things. Abuse isn't just being hit, being kicked, being punched. It can be withholding money that you need. It can be playing games like you're looking for your keys and they know you have a doctor's appointment and your keys are being hidden. It comes in so many forms. So sometimes I think because of that, some of us will be like, oh, no, they're just having a bad day. And that bad day turns into another bad day. But while those bad days are turning into bad days, it's not just affecting the person who's being abused, it's affecting those people, those little people who are watching what's happening in their home and around them. It is molding them into people that they other would not be if they weren't going through that type of environment. If they weren't growing up in that type of environment. In my opinion, you would be what the universe, God, your higher power, however y'all want to call that, would have set you here to be. I look at it as, I've been sent on a detour. And it took me almost 53 years to get the hell off that detour. Now, I'm not saying everybody's story is my story. This is my story. And by me telling my story, I'm hoping that I can help some people get off that bus or get out that detour and get back to where they were supposed to be headed. Back to where the universe, to where God wanted us to be. Not to where the people around us have molded us to be. And I wrote something and it's something that I'm going to carry with me, and I just want to share it quickly, that right now I am unbecoming the woman I was molded to be as an infant, a toddler, a child, a teenager, an adolescent, a young adult. I would even say from my mother's womb. I am unbecoming the woman I was molded to be as an infant, toddler, a child, a teenager, an adolescent, or a young adult, whether it was intentionally or not. Well, That's it for me today. For now, anyway. I hope that everyone has a great Friday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend with whatever it is that y'all going to do. And I hope hearing my stories and hearing some of the also the research information that I have given you can help somebody. Like I said, see you next time on Melissa Talks.